When you think of the world's richest people, you probably think of Elon Musk with his $300 billion, Jeff Bezos with his $200 billion, or Bernard Arnault somewhere in that range. These names dominate the Forbes billionaire list. Their wealth is tracked in real time on every financial website. Every time Tesla's stock moves, Musk's net worth changes by billions, and the whole world knows about it. But here's what nobody tells you. These guys aren't actually the richest people in the world. They're just the richest people whose wealth is visible. The truly ultra-wealthy families, the ones worth $500 billion, a trillion, potentially even more, don't appear on Forbes at all. Not because Forbes is incompetent, but because these families have spent centuries perfecting the art of hiding their wealth. The Rothschild family is estimated to be worth anywhere from $400 billion to over $1 trillion. The Saudi royal family controls assets worth $1.4 trillion or more. The Rockefellers, whose patriarch was once worth the equivalent of $400 billion in today's money, officially appear at only $11 billion on Forbes, a massive undercount. And there are dozens more families like this. Mars, Koch, Hermes, Wertheimer, worth hundreds of billions, completely invisible to mainstream wealth trackers. Why? Because Forbes can only track what's publicly disclosed. And old money, real old money, is held in private structures, family trusts, offshore entities, and foundations that are intentionally opaque. When your wealth is in public company stock, everyone can see it. When your wealth is in private holdings, family trusts, real estate, art collections, and businesses that have been private for centuries, it disappears from public view. Hey, I'm Brandon, and welcome back to My Money Mint, the channel where I dive into topics related to money and wealth. Today, we're going behind the curtain to reveal the world's actual richest families, the ones Forbes will never put on their list. If you would leave a quick comment below, that goes a long way in helping me grow the channel. All right, let's get into it. First, let's understand why these families don't appear on Forbes. Forbes' methodology focuses on publicly disclosed assets, public company stock that's tracked daily on exchanges, real estate held in personal names, known business interests, generally available public records. This works great for tracking Elon Musk because his wealth is primarily Tesla stock, a publicly traded company with SEC disclosure requirements. Every share he owns is documented, every stock sale is reported. His net worth can be calculated in real time, but Forbes can't see what it can't see. Private company holdings with no disclosure requirements. Family trusts and foundations where legal structure hides beneficial ownership. Offshore structures and tax havens, art, collectibles, and antiques that are hard to value and never reported. Debt structures that reduce taxable estates. The result: most truly ultra-wealthy families appear far less wealthy than they actually are. Second major reason, old money is divided among hundreds of descendants. The Rothschilds have approximately 1,000 descendants spread across multiple countries. The Rockefellers have 150 to 250 direct descendants across 6 or more generations. When wealth divides across many heirs, individual net worths don't accumulate high enough to dominate Forbes lists. Each heir might be worth $1 to $5 billion individually, but the combined family worth could be $100 billion or more. No single individual appears at the top of Forbes rankings, so the family's total wealth stays invisible. Take the Rockefellers as an example. The collective family net worth, according to Forbes, is about $10 to $11 billion, spread across 150 to 200 people. That's only $50 to $75 million per person on average. But John D. Rockefeller Sr., at his death, was worth approximately $400 billion in today's dollars. Even split 200 ways, that should be $2 billion per person. The current $11 billion estimate seems extraordinarily conservative. Where did the rest go? Into trusts, foundations, and private structures that don't appear on net worth calculations. Third, private holdings in trusts, foundations, and offshore structures. These legal structures are specifically designed to separate the legal owner from the beneficial owner. Dynasty trusts hold assets for many generations where the beneficial owner is hard to identify. Family trusts separate the trustee who legally owns the assets from the family members who benefit from them. Foundations are tax-exempt entities holding family wealth that are publicly listed but whose assets are nearly impossible to value accurately. LLC structures and shell companies hide true ownership. Offshore trusts hold assets outside the home country in places like the Cayman Islands. The result? Wealth exists, but beneficial ownership is deliberately obscured. Fourth, many assets are simply hard to value. Land has no public transaction record unless it's sold. Art and collectibles have subjective values with no official market and private sales. Private companies have no market price, making valuation purely speculative. Wine collections, antiques, unique real estate properties, none of these have standard valuation methods. These assets might be worth billions, but they don't appear on financial statements. And finally, intentional privacy. Ultra wealthy families hide their wealth for very specific reasons. Tax minimization, transparent wealth means higher taxes, while private structures enable tax optimization. Security risks. Known ultra wealth makes you a kidnapping or ransom target. Regulatory scrutiny. Visible wealth attracts government oversight. Political liability. Visible billionaires face criticism and pressure. Legal liability. Less visible assets mean fewer targets for lawsuits. Social pressure. Avoiding public backlash about inequality. And simple privacy, not wanting to be publicly identified as ultra wealthy. Now let's talk about the actual families, starting with the Rothschilds, arguably the most famous hidden wealthy family in history. Mayor Amschel Rothschild was born in 1744 in the Jewish ghetto of Frankfurt, Germany. He started a banking business in the 1760s as a court factor to German nobility and expanded into money lending. His innovation was brilliant. He sent his 5 sons to 5 European capitals to create the world's first international banking network. Nathan Mayer Rothschild went to London and established N.M. Rothschild Bank, which still operates today. James went to Paris. Carl went to Naples. Amschel stayed in Frankfurt. Salomon went to Vienna. This created a banking empire spanning all of Europe. During the 1800s, the Rothschilds financed governments and wars, achieving a near monopoly on international banking. They provided crucial financing to the British government during the Napoleonic Wars. Nathan Rothschild famously profited from accurate information about the Battle of Waterloo. Throughout the 19th century, they financed infrastructure, railroads, canals, and governments across Europe. They had close relationships with European royalty. This wasn't just banking. This was effectively controlling the flow of money across an entire continent. So what are they worth today? This is where it gets complicated. The Sunday Times in 2023 listed them at about $1 billion, which is acknowledged to be absurdly low. Most common academic estimates place the family's wealth in the $400 to $500 billion range. Some estimates go as high as $1 to $1.2 trillion. There are even some conspiracy theory estimates claiming $15 to $20 trillion. It's impossible to know precisely due to the intentional opacity of their holdings. With approximately 1,000 descendants globally, and Forbes listing them at just $1 billion, this represents one of the most massive undercounts in financial history. What do they own today? Banking remains core. Rothschild & Company is a Paris-listed investment bank that the family took private in 2023 for 3.3 billion euros. N.M. Rothschild & Sons still operates as a UK private bank. The Edmond de Rothschild Group is a major Swiss private banking and asset management firm. They own vineyards including Chateau Mouton Rothschild in Bordeaux and multiple European estates. In 2001, they sold a mansion for £85 million, the most expensive residential property at the time. And they hold one of the world's largest private art collections with masterpieces by old masters and modern artists, plus rare manuscripts and antiquities. Why is their wealth hidden? It's divided across approximately 1,000 descendants in the UK, France, Austria, Germany, Israel, and the USA. Wealth is split among many branches and sub-branches. It's held in family trusts, not individual names. Banking entities are family-controlled but not fully disclosed. Art and real estate are often held through shell companies. And the family historically maintains an extremely low public profile. As one historian noted, the Rothschilds are elusive. There's no book about them that is both revealing and accurate. Conspiracy theories have made the family even more sensitive to transparency. Their wealth is protected through intentional opacity. Now let's look at the Rockefellers, America's original dynasty. John D. Rockefeller's peak wealth was nearly $900 million by 1912, equivalent to approximately $21.7 to $400 billion in today's dollars, depending on the calculation method. He founded Standard Oil in 1870 and controlled roughly 90% of U.S. refinery capacity. He was America's first billionaire and the richest private individual in modern history. When he died in 1937, his wealth passed to his son, and then into trusts designed to last for generations. 6 generations later, there are now over 200 descendants. The first generation was John D. Rockefeller Sr. The second was John D. Rockefeller Jr. The third through sixth generations now include hundreds of people. Wikipedia lists approximately 150 direct blood descendants as of 2006. Current estimates suggest 200 plus family members spanning 6 to 7 generations. So, what's the family worth today? Forbes estimates the collective family net worth at $10.3 to $11 billion, spread across 150 to 250 family members. David Rockefeller Jr., the wealthiest living member, is worth approximately $4 billion. Others range from millions to hundreds of millions. But this is almost certainly a massive undercount. And this is historical wealth accumulated over more than 100 years. Remember, if John D. Rockefeller Sr. was worth approximately $400 billion in today's money, that should be $2 billion per person if you split it 200 ways. The current $11 billion total estimate seems extraordinarily conservative. Where is it all? Dynasty trusts were set up in 1934 and expanded in 1952, managed by Chase Bank. Generation-skipping trusts pass wealth through generations while minimizing taxes. The Rockefeller Foundation, established in 1913, has an endowment exceeding $5 billion. The Rockefeller Brothers Fund has over $1 billion. The David Rockefeller Fund is separate. They own real estate, including the Kikuit estate in Pocantico Hills, New York, and properties worldwide. They have massive private art collections. They hold publicly traded stocks in ExxonMobil and Chevron from the Standard Oil breakup. And they have private investments in venture capital, technology, and real estate development. Why is it hidden? No single individual owns massive wealth anymore. It's all in trusts. Each beneficiary receives stipends and distributions from trusts, but the trustees, separate from the beneficiaries, are the legal owners. Trusts are managed by JP Morgan Chase and other financial institutions. The family donated the bulk of their wealth to charitable causes. Foundations hold hundreds of millions in perpetuity. The Rockefellers created America's first family office, the Rockefeller Global Family Office, which centralizes wealth management away from public view. This represents a deliberate low-profile approach to wealth preservation. Now, let's talk about a family that makes both the Rothschilds and Rockefellers look small, the Saudi royal family. The House of Saud comprises approximately 15,000 members, though most wealth and power is concentrated in about 2,000 senior members. Only about 200 top princes have significant individual wealth. The rest receive relatively modest government stipends. The estimated total wealth? $1.4 trillion or more. Some estimates range from $100 billion to over $1.5 trillion, a massive range because it's impossible to verify. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman supposedly controls $500 billion personally. King Salman is estimated at $18 to $20 billion. But here's why these numbers are impossible to verify. There's no separation between state assets and family wealth in Saudi Arabia. It's an absolute monarchy. The king controls everything. The family owns Saudi Aramco, the world's most valuable company. It has a market capitalization of over $2 trillion, fluctuating with oil prices. The government owns about 79%, but the royal family effectively controls it through government positions. Saudi Aramco dividends flow to the Saudi government, and government budgets are effectively royal family funds. There's no distinction between state revenue and personal wealth. This is why wealth estimates are so difficult. All Saudi government assets are effectively royal family assets. The Public Investment Fund, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, is officially a state fund but is controlled by Mohammed bin Salman. There are no independent courts or checks on royal spending. Real estate and companies are purchased through government entities. The result? Impossible to know what belongs to family versus state. All $2+ trillion in state assets could be considered royal wealth. This is why estimates range so wildly. Individual members show the scale. King Salman owns multiple palaces, a yacht called Serene, formerly worth $500 million, and an art collection worth hundreds of millions. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has an estimated net worth up to $500 billion depending on the source. He controls Saudi Vision 2030, the country's economic transformation plan. He chairs the Public Investment Fund with assets exceeding $430 billion. He owns a $300 million French palace called Chateau Louis XIV. He bought Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi for $450 million, the most expensive painting ever sold. He owns the $500 million super yacht Serene and multiple private jets. Prince Al-Walid bin Talal is worth an estimated $17 billion with major real estate and banking interests. But beyond these royal families, there are corporate dynasties that are equally wealthy but far more private. The Mars family, makers of M&M's, Snickers, Milky Way, and Twix, is collectively worth over $160 billion. They also own Mars Pet Care with brands like Pedigree, Whiskas, and Royal Canin. Mars is the second largest privately held company in the US, and because it's 100% private, there are no public valuations. The family is known for extreme privacy. They rarely give interviews. Their headquarters is in McLean, Virginia, but they maintain minimal public presence. Forbes lists them at much lower figures because the family chooses obscurity. The Koch family, worth over $100 billion collectively, controls Koch Industries, the second largest private company in the US by revenue. Koch Industries operates in petrochemicals, refining, trading, and agriculture. Charles and David Koch became relatively well known, but David has since died. Because Koch Industries is private, there are limited disclosure requirements and valuation is speculative. The family has diversified into foundations and philanthropic work, though they remain controversial for political spending. The Hermes family is estimated to be worth $150 billion or more. The Dumas family controls the luxury goods company that makes Hermes bags, scarves, and watches. Stock is partially public, but the family controls voting shares through a holding company. Not all assets are in the publicly traded company. Real estate, art, and private investments remain unknown. French privacy laws protect the family from excessive disclosure. The Wertheimer family, owners of Chanel, are worth an estimated $100 billion or more. Alain and Gerard Wertheimer are the primary owners. Chanel is not publicly traded. It's totally private. There are no SEC disclosures or public valuations. The company famously rejects publicity. The family maintains an ultra-low profile. There's no public company stock to track. And then there's the Al Nahyan family, the ruling family of the United Arab Emirates. They're estimated to be worth $700 billion or more, including the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund. They have vast real estate holdings worldwide and major stakes in global companies. Like the Saudi situation, the UAE is an absolute monarchy with no separation between state and royal assets. Investments occur through shell companies globally, and family members own real estate through intermediaries. So why is old money so much better at hiding than new money? Let's compare. New money, Elon Musk's $250 billion, Jeff Bezos' $200 billion, is held in public company stock. It's tracked daily as stock prices change. SEC filings are required, creating transparency. It's single person, single generation wealth. It's easy to value because you just multiply stock price by shares owned. It's visible to Forbes and media, and tax implications are higher due to all this transparency. Old money is completely different. It's diversified over centuries across many asset types, not just stocks. It's held in private trusts and companies, not public ones. It's optimized for tax efficiency across multiple jurisdictions. It's designed specifically to survive economic crises. It's spread across many generations and many people. It's intentionally opaque through privacy structures, and it's much harder to value or track. Here's a mathematical reality that explains why old money is so wealthy. $1 million invested in 1824 at just 5% annual return would be worth over $500 million today after 200 years of compounding. The Rothschild family had over $100 million in the 1800s. Compounded over 200 years at reasonable returns, that's a minimum of $50 to $100 billion, and that's before considering additional wealth generation through banking, investments, and real estate appreciation. Old money families are almost always wealthier than new money, but the wealth is hidden. Old money also thinks differently. They operate on 100-year horizons, not quarterly earnings. Trusts are designed to last generations. Decisions are made for family benefit, not quarterly profits. They can wait out market downturns. They can make long-term infrastructure investments. They don't need to maximize annual returns. Meanwhile, new money faces quarterly earnings pressure, stock price performance scrutiny, quarterly guidance to analysts, and pressure to maximize shareholder value in the short term. Old money can be patient. New money is forced into short-term thinking. Let's put some numbers in perspective. The Rothschilds are estimated at $400 to $500 billion, hidden and not tracked by Forbes. The Saudi royal family controls $1.4 trillion or more in state assets that are functionally family wealth, also not tracked. Meanwhile, Elon Musk at $250 billion and Jeff Bezos at $200 billion are tracked daily in real time. The actual ultra-wealthy are likely several times wealthier than Forbes estimates suggest. Why does this matter? Understanding hidden wealth explains inequality far better than public lists do. The gap between Forbes billionaire lists and actual ultra-wealth shows that most visible billionaires in the $100 to $300 billion range aren't actually the wealthiest. Old money families worth $500 billion to over $1 trillion don't appear on lists at all. Wealth inequality is far worse than publicly understood. Privacy structures allow the ultra wealthy to remain completely invisible. This has massive tax and policy implications. Tax systems can only collect on disclosed income. Opaque wealth avoids taxation through legal structures. Policy discussions about billionaires miss the actual ultra wealthy entirely. Capital flight and offshore structures move money away from countries where it might be taxed. And it shows how succession and generational wealth really works. The Rockefeller and Rothschild examples demonstrate that wealth can be preserved across generations through trusts. Proper structures allow wealth to compound for 100 plus years. Family offices protect assets better than individual ownership. Tax-efficient structures multiply wealth over time in ways that are invisible to the public. When you see Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos at the top of Forbes, remember, they're just the richest people whose wealth is visible. The actual richest families in the world, you'll never see them on any list. And that's exactly how they want it. Thank you for watching My Money Mint. If this look behind the curtain of hidden wealth got you thinking about old money, generational wealth, and how the truly rich stay invisible, smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Which hidden wealthy family surprised you the most? I'll see you in the next one.